Are you ready for the hype train?
That's right, folks. It's the Hype Train. I'm your conductor, Jesse Kimball. I didn't mess it up. I almost did. I was really, I thought about it during the moment of silence. Across from me is Asa Gray.
See, now that you've got it down, I'm waiting for you to mess it up again. I was waiting for you to get it right.
We're
and now I'm waiting.
Watching.
And now always watching.
Always watching. That's fine. Keep me on my toes. Trevor Camp is here.
What's up?
And special guest on the Hype Train tonight is Dalton Anthony.
Yo.
We left the door unlocked.
Yeah,
And I walked right in.
he was here when we got here, actually.
It's true.
Well, that's why the door was unlocked. The
you
door
guys-
was open.
I heard you guys were recording tonight.
And we
That wasn't my exact mind. I was like, y'all need a fourth?
need is a strong word.
Y'all tolerate a fourth?
There you go.
There we go.
All right. No, we can't bash Dalton too much. This is supposed to be a happy show. This is the Hype
That,
Train.
if you pay $1, you can hear them bash me for like 20 minutes.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, the
Solid
pre-show was
pre-show.
mostly bashing.
Yeah, no. If you guys want to hear a story from Dalton's past,
That's not true, even a little bit.
That's a little true.
in the boudoir,
Certain aspects of it are true, but they've been exaggerated because that makes a better story.
for $1,
You can ruin Dalton's life.
Substantially worse than Ghostbusters.
and that $1 gets you every pre-show, not just this one. All the pre-shows. Head over to patreon.com/podzilla1985.
And Cody, if I see one joke about it, I will start the Ghostbusters jokes back with like a relentless fury.
Well, see, the problem is that you may have stopped, but the bit didn't stop, so he's not going to notice.
Also, I don't think he cares nearly as much about the Ghostbusters bit as you do about this one.
That's fair.
that is very accurate.
Yeah.
Again, folks,
One-
this is
$1.
worth the $1. You can unsubscribe if you want after you get the show. Please
don't.
because it's
Why would
going to
you
be
give
worth it.
him
I
that
promise.
option, Jesse?
I'm on 2 to 3 shows a
$1
week.
is better than 0.
The chances of me getting bashed during pre-shows are so high. It's like a 50% chance.
It's pretty solid, even when he's not here.
Yeah. I don't listen.
Then it goes real rough.
Wait, what? Gosh, dang it.
No, I defend you.
Horse beep. Can we cuss on the show? I don't know the rules.
No.
Oh, okay. Horse beep.
Yeah, though this is still family friendly. The only show that we cuss on is obviously the pre-shows. Pre-shows are a little uncensored. And then
I feel like you can't get fully hyped without dropping like a bomb
No,
here or there.
Wednesday's gone a little.
Little blue.
Wednesday's gone a little blue
no, fair
sideways
enough.
for PW. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thursday is obviously extremely
Totally blue. Like a Van Gogh period blue.
Do.
But Thursday's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, it is. I'm a fan.
It's a fun show,
Might do this
and it's one of our
week's.
most popular ones. All right, so Dalton, I know you listen to the show, so I know you know the format.
Oh, yeah,
so we're gonna go ahead and start with you, since you're in actually the normal Trevor spot, where he would start. So Dalton, what's bringing you joy, buddy?
Right now, it was the GameStop exclusive Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cross Batman sets until I put the Leonardo sword in his hand and it broke. So now I have to get a bunch of not a bunch of super glue, but super glue and craft a very nicely yet stern email to DC Collectibles.
I had a friend that lived around here. Like he has since moved. He actually used to be a regular here at the store.
Okay.
But he has since moved up north somewhere. He was super into Warhammer. And he had like this ridiculously awesome kit for fixing like figures and collectibles and stuff.
Some people like are really into it, but like that's one thing. I've gotten back into Mortal Kombat 11 because I bought the arcade 1-up Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and Ultimate 3 machine. So now I've just been really hard and heavy into Mortal Kombat. Me and Sadie have. So
Do you use it to settle arguments like me and my wife do?
no, because
She can beat you? Got it.
no, it's opposite, and it's not worth me winning. I have dropped combos in some of the fights just to lose.
Just to lose.
She doesn't listen. It's fine.
Just to stretch it out.
Yeah, I just feel like
This is gonna be-
I just let her win. It's
This is gonna be the one show that she listens to, and then you're just gonna you're gonna get home, and she's like, "Wait, you let me win?"
Yes, I did, and she knows it.
And then
But no, it's,
Some people think that's sweet.
yeah, Mortal Kombat is
my wife doesn't.
No, your wife is way too competitive. If she gets that hint.
Oh, the hint
Throw in
of
the game?
weakness? No, yeah. Like, she'll get angry and ticked and, like, just not talk when I destroy her, which usually happens. But she will not. If she thinks I'm throwing it, she'll just quit playing.
That's fair. But yeah, no, I got Mortal Kombat 11, which I bought it for the second time, and then I got the season pass this time, so I'll have Fighter Pack number 1 coming up. So I'm learning how to play that game right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Asa, what you got, buddy?
Pokemon Heart Gold right now is the big one, because I got the DS from the store, and then because someone traded in Heart Gold, so I got that, and then Shannon, and then like literally the next day someone traded in a DS Lite, so that also has the GBA slot.
Yeah.
So for when Fire Red comes out, or when it comes out, if
When you
if
get
a copy comes in, like I'll be able to pick
okay.
that up. So I've been playing a lot of that because that itch never really went away.
And Heart Gold is the best. Come at me, nerds. Heart Gold and Soul Silver, the best Pokemon game to ever be released.
I don't think a lot of people would argue with that.
Because you played Gold and Silver, didn't you, Trevor?
I have played half a Pokemon game that was in my wife's 3DS once.
Fair enough. I thought you played when you were younger.
I take that back. I played Pokemon Snap on the N64.
So he's never
Yep.
played a Pokemon game.
Hey, easy.
That'll get- that will get more hate mail than-
Whoa, bro.
Wait, all right, we gonna act like Pokemon Snap's in a
Pokemon Snap was a phenomenal
It's
game.
I'm not saying it was a
amazing
bad
game.
game. I'm saying it is not like it's not like that is not a Pokemon game.
No,
I mean, it's not
other
one of the
than
Pokemon role-playing
it
games.
isn't one of the base it's not considered one of the generational games because no, it is not an RPG. But you can't say that Pokemon Snap is not a Pokemon game. It's just not one of the main. It's just not one of the main RPGs.
Yeah, in the line of thinking, what you meant was it's not a Pokemon RPG.
Okay, it's not a Pokemon
and
RPG.
that you're correct on. Yeah,
They're giving you an out. Just take it.
I am very reluctantly, but I am.
Yep.
yeah, no.
Trevor can tell by my face right now. I'm just like, really?
I don't want to give this up. Okay.
But I'm not. We're not arguing this
Yeah,
for an hour.
don't get me wrong. I understand that we're
Teardrop
very
Distance
much.
isn't a Kingdom Hearts game.
Dream Drop?
Yeah.
No, it is.
No, it's not. Well, it doesn't have 1, 2, or 3 after it, so it's not a game. It's not. A
But it's
Kingdom Hearts
canonical.
game. It's not a.
Should've just
Pokemon
taken the
Snap is
alternate, bro.
canonical.
Yeah, it's also canonical.
Is it?
Yeah.
Professor
about it
Oak is in
wouldn't be?
it.
I thought it was a weird side game.
Have you ever
It
played
is.
Yeah.
So is Dream Drop Distance.
No,
But
no,
it's-
it's a story game. Like it continues the story. There are crucial plot points. Like if you did
Name
not
a
play.
single Pokemon game that has a color after it that has crucial plot points that carry from one to the other.
Woof.
All right, so it's not a Pokemon RPG.
Yet
There you go.
again,
Oh,
like I
there you
understand
go.
that we're being very
Remember when
pedantic
you
about
quit
this.
Yes, you are. You're
Remember
being
when,
very.
remember when you quit this show?
But you're also wrong.
Very
So
wrong.
much
Pokemon Snap is an incredible game, and I will not suffer your insults.
I'm not saying. Oh my god. At no point am I saying it. No, it's not a Pokemon RPG.
Just walk away, man. Just walk
To
away.
be candid. To be candid.
Well, I appreciate your candor in giving me your name.
I had to think of what it is. Like I don't remember
it's
the
a
slide.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine joke.
Thank
Sorry,
you,
guys.
season 1. Oh,
So anyway,
I'm
you know.
nice and hyped now.
All right,
But Heart Gold, that's awesome.
back to you, Asa.
Yeah, so I'm playing through that. I'm trying to figure it, and it bums me out because now I'm like, oh, I can actually get like these Pokemon that I've never had. So, because I had other friends who played Pokemon growing up, but like all of my friends lived very far away, so I didn't. Other than like seeing them at school, I very rarely got to see them. Like outside of like it was a event to get to see like Ryan or Chris or like anybody other than at school or like directly after school, stuff like that, like weekends and summer. Like it was
You was like way out in the country, kid.
kind of like, except just on the other side.
Or way out.
Because like
away
Ryan
from Frank.
Ryan lived in like Dutchtown, and then I live out by like my parents lived out by Snake Hill. So it's just like there's distance is a
Yeah,
factor.
no, that's a good like 25-minute drive.
Yeah, Chris lives out past Notre. Like his parents lived way out past Notre Dame. Like so, yeah, it was. I didn't get to see people often. So I never really got to trade. So like right now, I'm leveling up Ghastly and Geodude strictly because it's like, ooh, because Lindsay, I will be able to trade with her.
Yeah.
I can actually get a Gengar and a Golem for like the first time ever. So I'm excited about that. I'm going through and like I'm constantly changing my team, which is annoying because it's like, all right, grind through this person. Wait, you're not going to be useful at the next gym. All right, well, stow you away for now and just figure out what move I need to learn to beat this next gym leader.
And there are 16 gym leaders in that game.
I know, and I've never actually beaten gold or silver. Like I think I got through the Elite Four, but I never actually went back to the first region.
I beat gold before.
So I never did the
Pokemon Go a Pokemon game, Dalton?
No, we're not having this conversation. So I'm excited about that. The other thing is Tom Taylor and Chip Zdarsky. I'm getting real into. I need to put everything in order to make sure, and I also have to go up to Villainous Grounds and clear out because I have the issue. I have missing issues. I bought out like their back stock of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, but I haven't bought them yet. They're in my box, so I have to pull them whenever I go back, like next time we go up.
Yeah, I was gonna get.
I don't know when that's going to be now, because we're not going up on Friday.
Yeah, like that weekend is just a bad weekend for it to be a VG weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go up on Thursday.
Yeah, but you have the show.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
I mean,
Be a
we would be
little
back.
late.
We would be back like in time, but like it would just have to be like a.
real
In and
quick
out.
run up and grab.
But it wouldn't be because then it would be on a Thursday, and that means Dave or Mary Jo would be working, and we haven't seen them in forever, so we would want to like.
we want to stay and talk for a minute. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
really
mean,
good
like
vacation.
we can still be back by 7.
need to go up there
We'll
and
make
clean
this
out
happen.
my
We'll figure
make
it
it work.
We'll figure it out.
Because I also need to clear out Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man because I was gonna do that last time, but so many other books came out.
Yeah, you had a big week for comics.
It was one of the biggest weeks I've had in a while.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
it
like
was
$50
bad.
something.
After my discount.
Yeah.
Oh.
So reading, I read the first issue of, because I remembered, because I read the first issue of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and I read the epilogue, and I was like, I am not going to wait to figure out what the is going on here. That is not okay. So then I read the second issue was up on Marvel Unlimited. I read it, and I was like, you didn't address it at all. Like, that epilogue never happened. It's just, it wasn't part of that book.
I'm not okay with that because I haven't read issue 2 yet.
Spoiler alert. They do not address the epilogue at all. There is not another epilogue.
Oh, I'm not okay with that.
I am not okay with that.
I'm not okay with that
sir,
at all.
I am not okay with that. So Jesse and I separately went up to St. Louis this past weekend and went to a variety of comic book stores.
Yeah, we were hopping from all over the place comic shops. Somehow, well, okay, St. Louis is a big enough city that despite the fact that he and I were simultaneously hopping comic book stores and went to the same ones, like there's some
certain points,
crossover.
yeah.
We never saw each other.
Which was fine because, like, after the day Friday I had, I was just kind of like, I'm just going to spend the day in the car and just, like, I'm going to be listening to music and podcasts. I meant to text you about it, but the Kind of Funny has a show called We Have Cool Friends, and it is Greg and Tim, and they're interviewing Will Friedle, who was the voice of Terry in Batman Beyond, and Eric, and he was
On
Eric
Boy
in
Meets
Boy Meets
World.
World. It is an amazing interview. And it made me love Will Friedle even more.
Also,
That's hard,
Ron
'cause I love him
Stoppable
so much.
in Kim Possible.
Ron Stoppable, he is Lion-O in the new Thundercats. He is...
I love Wilford.
Eric from Boy Meets
He's
World.
Eric
We've already
from Boy
said
Meets
that.
World.
He's-
Honestly,
That's the most important one.
That's the only qualifier. I need.
Bumblebee in Transformers Prime.
I'm surprised that Trevor didn't pull out. I forget the character's name, but he plays the he plays the lead role in
HE
Double
Double
Hockey
Hockey
Sticks.
Sticks.
He talks about...
Oh, he does.
He talks about
Such a
that.
good movie.
It was a good
Also,
movie.
the
It's a
story of
great
how
movie.
his childhood is insane.
Like dark or awesome?
No, like awesome. Like he has a very very wholesome story. And then but it also like it's kind of touching because he talks about like why he hasn't done like on camera roles in a long time, but he's now starting that back up. And everyone should go check that out. But it was really
I
good.
need
so,
him to be back in the world because I love him.
No, and he is, and he
We're just gonna
apparently has
subscribe.
always been because it's like
He's just been doing voice acting the whole
yeah,
time.
he's been doing VO.
Yeah,
So
they're doing a lot of VO work.
He's in the Girl Meets World, isn't he?
he did
From
a couple
time to
episodes of
time?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which he talks about some of that show and like time doing because apparently like that show was never the most popular that show ever was years after it ended when it hit like Disney Channel syndication,
Yeah.
Okay.
like because
So-
no one was watching it. It was just the constant.
Question:
Yes.
during the interview, at any given point, does he do the Feeny call?
No.
Okay.
And he explains why. Because that is a thing that like people every time because he's been doing
Oh, yeah, I
conventions
could see
and
that.
people are constantly asking him to do the Feeny call and he explains why he doesn't do it. And it's
Wouldn't it be
kind of
quicker
great.
just to do the Feeny call for me?
No.
And slate my appetite for the Feeny call.
Well, good news is
Yes, he would have
Disney-
to do the Feeny call for 1 million people
Yeah.
every day of his life.
Well,
So it's much easier to just actually say the story of why he doesn't do it.
But what if you just slap him, give him a 20, and then it makes that Feeny call a lot easier?
No.
I mean,
The story is wholesome, and I will
Yeah,
not
no,
have
I
I will
actually-
not have you crapping on it.
he does do
I
the Feeney
just
call again in
subscribed.
Girl Meets World.
Yeah, but it's which
I assume it's because like Mr. Feeney's dead, and that was a sacred
He's
thing.
still
he's
alive.
not.
Holy crap!
Yeah, the actor.
Really?
so-
He's
he
on
was in
Girls
Girl
Meets
Meets
World.
World. Yeah.
I don't watch
He
that
he
show.
makes an appearance on it.
It's long over. Like
Why
it
did I
was.
think,
It only
like,
got
he
3
died
seasons.
recently?
I have
Because he
no
died
idea.
on Grey's Anatomy. You watch that show?
No.
Oh yeah, he died on that. And that's
He
when I
was
stopped
on that
watching.
show?
Yeah, I stopped watching that
just-
show at that point.
I just assume every old man from television that I love near and dear is dead.
No.
Nope. Yeah, Feeney's
Sorry.
very much alive, and he did have a couple of cameo roles in Girl Meets World.
Yeah.
He is 92.
Yeah, he was like he was
Wow.
talking about him being like 90, like filming those,
That
or
dude's-
like 90 something.
That
He
dude's
def-
not buying ripe bananas.
I mean, he definitely looks every bit of 90 in Girl Meets World, but you know,
But still, he's 90.
If I can make it to 90 and look good enough to be on television,
Yeah.
boy howdy.
and I mean,
And
like
still act.
and act, yeah, because I mean,
Yeah,
he was
and
still
not just
he was still
not
Mr.
have
Feeney.
Yeah,
dementia.
he was Feeney.
Yeah.
So yeah, that episode actually made me like really really happy. I got a little emotional hearing some of the stuff he was talking about, and it was just like this helped my day because I had a full on anxiety attack inside of a V stock. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, no, I tried to get lunch with Kevin. Like that's the most interaction because after the previous weekend, before this one, which go back to those pre-shows, you can hear about that on a pre-show for
Nerd
it was
Up.
$1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was for Nerd Up. You can hear about that. Yeah, the weekend prior to this past weekend was particularly rough for me. So I just wanted to get out of town. Because this Labor Day weekend was supposed to be Indiana Comic Con for me, but unfortunately the plans fell through. Wasn't able to do that, so I just used the money I had set aside for ICC to just do a treat yourself day up in St. Louis.
And you had a good time?
Aw,
I
treat
did.
yourself.
Good.
I finished up. Well, Asa, you go ahead and finish your thing, then I'll talk about my day.
But the reason that I went up there is because Marvel Unlimited, which I've talked about before on this show, and I'm sorry for repeating myself, but this time it's different. So Tom Taylor's Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, because I finally read All New Wolverine, which we talked about, but he has a Spider-Man book, and I was talking to this to the shop was called the Fantasy Shop, not the one that Jesse went to. This was a different one. This one was in Chesterfield, I think.
Oh, okay.
The guy that was working there was super cool. They were super super friendly, and I was talking to him and I was like, yeah. So having like the Tom Taylor run had already started, and I think it was just, oh, it's a Spider-Man book, and Into the Spider-Verse has happened recently. My love of Spider-Man is at an all-time high, so I will pull the first couple issues, and then I ended up dropping it, which was a mistake because I read a book written that someone made a character named Gabby, and that man who wrote Gabby is now writing Spider-Man.
Oh God.
I need this in my life. So I was filling in the gaps from what Villainous Grounds didn't have. And then also Chip Zdarsky, who is one of my favorite authors and just people in general. He took over the Daredevil run, which I was curious about, but I already had I needed to pare down my pull list a little bit, so I didn't pick up. And so I'd been missing out on that. The first issue of that finally hit Marvel Unlimited. I read it and I was like, well, crap, now I have 10 issues of comics I have to buy.
Were
Yep.
they easy to find?
No, not even remotely.
Villainous Grounds didn't have any.
Any.
Like up to the most recent issue, I think is the only one that VG had in.
Yeah.
Fortunately, like I've just gotten like since the Netflix show hit, I've always kind of liked Daredevil.
Yeah.
Like, he's just been like a passive thing, but I've never really gotten into the comics. Then Mark Waid and Chris Samney had a run on Daredevil, and I got into Daredevil there because I heard it was a good jumping on point. And boy, howdy was it. Daredevil has been phenomenal since Waid and Samney picked it up.
Yep.
And it's
Because I haven't been pulling it, but I've been I read the entire Wade run, which I had a lot of that, and then the Charles Soule run. I read that on Marvel Unlimited.
And the Charles Soule run was so good.
And then that led into the Chip Zdarsky run, which is starting pretty insanely. Like the ending of that first issue, I was just like, "Oh my." Well, all right, need to see what happens here.
I mean, it just keeps going. It's so good.
Yeah, so
Like,
I'm excited
Zdarsky's
to
run on
actually
Daredevil's been amazing.
I'm excited to actually sit down and read that. That was what I was going to do this weekend, but I just did not. Like Saturday or Monday, I was a useless human and just like napped and did nothing productive.
That's fair.
That's a recoup day. You need those. every
It's
once in a
kind
while.
of see, but the problem is like those are all of my weekends now of just like here's all this
Oh, no, you
media
do
that I
like
want.
once a month.
Here's all this media I would like to consume, or I could just nap while King of the Hill plays in the background, and that's kind of what I do. Or I do the thing where it's like, okay, so I have like an hour and a half before I need to go to bed. Should I want to play Batman Arkham Asylum again. I want to, because the 10-year anniversary hit and Barrett played it on stream and he beat it in like 5 hours. Like, I want to go through that game.
So good.
I could do that. I could read all the comics I'm trying to catch up on. I can keep watching Avatar Last Airbender or get caught up on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. There's a million shows I want to watch.
And then
Or
just browse Reddit.
Or I'll just sit on my phone paralyzed by indecision and then look and realize, oh, it's already 10:30. I need to go to bed now. I have done literally nothing tonight. Crap.
The best kind of nights.
Yeah, so that's just what I do on weekends too. But the other thing that I'm super excited for that's coming up is we talked about it at D&D on Monday was the Breaking Bad movie.
Yes.
All they gave us was Aaron Paul tweeted out, I think it was him, tweeted out a scene and the like script for that scene that kind of followed it as it played out.
Oh yeah.
And there was the teaser of Skinny Pete in the interrogation room. That's all we got. That's all I need. I'm simultaneously a little mad that they're doing it because leave Jesse Pinkman alone.
That boy has been through enough.
He's been through enough. Leave him alone.
He is matured as a human.
He better get a happy ending. But at the same time, like I want more of that show from that context. Like, and that's another show like Better Call Saul. I want to watch Better Call Saul, but that's one that I feel like is a more of a time and emotional commitment.
Yup.
And by the end of the night, it's like,
I just
see. But now I just want to rewatch Breaking Bad too, which I feel like I could probably handle more because I already know what happens.
Yeah.
I'm prepared for it. Whereas Better Call Saul, now that's a whole new,
And see, I feel like rewatching Breaking Bad would lose kind of its luster because I've already seen it and I know what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that the show would be worse for me watching it or like it would diminish. Just like,
But
I
some of
don't
those
think,
surprises.
right? Like that part of what made Breaking Bad so good, were like, yeah, the surprises, the twists, the turns, like the plot twist. If I know they're all coming, then I'm just watching it and like I'm enjoying good TV, but I wouldn't enjoy it near as much.
The plane, Gus Fring, the plant, like all of those things are just like, that's the spoiler-free version of it. But oh my,
Yeah. Yeah.
so good.
So good.
So yeah, those are the big three that I have been kind of throwing myself into.
Those are good threes.
I'm excited for them. I'm really excited to actually get to read Daredevil now that I have them all.
I'm also really excited for you to read them so I can have something to talk to about Daredevil because Daredevil's going through stuff.
I do need to call Villainous Grounds and let them know that I need to add both of those books to my pull list now, and then I need to find something to snip. I'm like 3 issues into the Batman Who Laughs because I was thinking about keeping Batman Superman since that's a direct sequel to that.
Yeah.
And it hasn't grabbed me. Like, it's interesting, but I don't know if it's enough to add it to an ongoing.
Yeah, that's kind of the boat that I've been in with a lot of DC stuff. Like, there's pretty much everything that I was reading DC, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of interesting, but nothing is grabbing me.
Talking to the guy up at Fantasy Shop made me regret not having caught up with Green Lantern, because apparently that's been really good.
Oh, yeah?
I'm like, too many books. Too many
books.
And not enough monies or time.
Yeah. And DC doesn't have near as good a service for the backlog. So, yeah.
It's a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the main difference. Like, I've read books on DC Universe and it's really good. It's just that it's that year instead of 6 months.
I mean,
but that year's what kills it.
Yeah.
Because 6 months is already a lot of time for comic books, especially if it's like a twice monthly.
Yeah,
that's a lot of issues.
Which DC's cutting back on those, but they had a bunch of those.
Yeah, especially at the beginning of Rebirth, like every main title.
But
was
the good news is that was like 3 years ago.
True. So I mean, you can
say because Rebirth started right whenever I started my big boy job, which I just started my 4th year. So
I think Rebirth started around when I got back into comic books.
Yeah, because I got you.
That's kind of how you got me, and you're
'Cause
like,
that
it's
was-
cool, man. It started over.
Yeah, because that was about the time that we actually started like being around each other.
Yes, that was around the first time I met you, and I understood things.
Yeah.
Why are you guys always so mean to Dalton?
Oh, I get
Hey,
it.
Dalton, stand up. Oh, I get it.
It was almost
Well,
an
because Dalton also had a
instantaneous knowledge.
comment when he stood up too, so like it just really.
It was a comment that
compounded
we
it.
can't make
Yeah.
right now.
Not on this show.
Right.
No.
And so it was just one of those things like, yeah, okay. No, that's it. And I just looked at Trevor
Checks
like,
out.
mhm.
Checks out.
And this was before you loved me,
I still-
Jesse.
No,
Trevor still doesn't love me.
I loved you. Just
Not as much.
Note the past tense.
Mother-
It came and
a
went.
bell curve happened.
Oh, liars.
Oh.
Oh, that's a sine wave now.
There's your wave right
Trevor,
there.
what you
sir.
excited about?
Hey, what you got, buddy?
Oh, I'm glad you've asked. I've waited for weeks. Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior, the Woo Assassin? Yes.
What's the woo assassin?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Dalton. I'm glad you asked.
I'm not even doing a bit. I really don't know what it is.
Okay, the Woo Assassins is like my new favorite show on Netflix. It checks all my kung fu boxes. The plot, don't need it.
Irrelevant.
I was about to say,
Irrelevant.
Character development, don't need it. Logic, don't need it. Kung fu, you bet there's kung fu. And it's all awesome, and everyone knows it.
I was about to say, it's one of those things like you really have to, for Trevor's list, those first three things he mentioned are not boxes on his list. So, like, it's fine. And if you don't care about those with your kung fu, which I don't.
I don't want that. I honestly don't want that in my kung fu. I want kung fu.
See,
You want your chocolate and your peanut butter separate.
the problem was they tried to give me so much of those first three boxes. And really they should have just cut that out, given me like a 3-hour film of the fight scenes. Just perfect.
I was fine with it. I loved every minute of it.
It
I
was-
know me and Jesse disagree on the ending and a few other things, but he's wrong.
There's too much. There's too much non-kung fu. Don't get me wrong. If you're a big kung fu fan, still a phenomenal watch. It's a good time.
I'm currently watching the trailer with no sound right now.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, subtitles are on.
Oh yeah, you want magic stuff that doesn't make sense? Awesome. Yeah, there's a Scotsman for no reason. Like it gets Summer Glouse in it for an episode with half a line.
Is there a guy in this or
true.
a character in this show named Yin Yang?
Probably.
All right, cool. Because it keeps like
Trevor
it keeps
doesn't know
putting
the
in-
characters' names.
It keeps
It's
putting
not-
it in
I
parentheses.
legit can't tell you the main character's name because it doesn't matter. He's the Woo Assassin.
He's the guy from the Raid,
Yeah. Okay,
Oh,
you
okay.
did tell me about this.
and I'm really glad because that guy is not Chinese.
No. But he's not
he is-
Chinese in the show.
He's
either.
not, and I'm really glad they addressed that and didn't just like he looks close enough.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't.
It basically takes place.
Because I think he's Indonesian.
Yeah, he's half Indonesian.
In the show, he's half Indonesian.
Like if you're in some parts of Missouri, they hit the nail on the head. But like with a trained eye, you can tell something's a little amiss.
I mean, there's an episode where they're in a diner in probably someplace in Missouri where some rednecks hassle him, and it goes about.
He was in Washington.
Was he in Washington?
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Eco Away. That I was trying to think of his name.
But yeah, no. Back to the yin yang thing. Like I just keep getting in parentheses yin yang, and I'm like, I'm really hoping that's a character's name. Because
I
if
think
not,
that
that's
might be
kind
one
of-
It's a theme.
I think. Basically, like the whole premise, dude lives in the reluctant hero who lives in Chinatown. One day,
He's a cook.
He's a cook. And basically, like first episode, this lady just drops out of nowhere and says, "Hey, you're the Woo Assassin." Slap powers. And just
And it's
powers.
pretty cool.
It
Some
takes
people-
that much time.
Some people have all of the luck.
I know. And basically, like he's in
Well, I mean-
with all the like these 1,000 monks who sacrifice themselves or something. So whenever he goes to fight, what he looks like changes.
Okay,
So
that
he-
all right. So that explained a couple of things in the trailer.
In the trailer.
And he did. I wouldn't say he has a whole lot of luck because he kind of came over to the States on a boat next to his dad that died halfway across the
Oh,
way.
no.
I'm sorry. Did somebody come up to him at work, slapped him, and said, "You're a woo assassin now"? That's pretty lucky.
That did happen later in his life.
You have my eczema now.
I'm itchy.
Like I need to fix the lines.
Also,
I'm trying
His
everything.
hands just clear up.
Hit me in the
That'd be
elbow. I'm gonna become
amazing.
Killer Croc.
That's fine. Cool.
You make that your new wrestling gimmick.
I'm not nearly that big.
Yet.
Is that how
They
eczema
come-
works?
Yeah, like
eczema powers.
I've been having to take steroids, so like I'm
Let me
big
see
in
your hands.
Jack.
They look
They
better
get
than what they
swole.
have.
Yeah, because I actually have a prescription now that I had
they
to make
look
them.
good.
I had
They
to,
look better.
They don't feel better.
I'm sorry.
I
Manuka honey. It's a thing.
don't know what it is. I
talk
have
later.
a prescription.
All right, so Trevor, Woo Assassins.
Woo
What else you got?
Assassins, amazing. Anyway, another one is also gonna be. Most of mine are like show related.
That's fine.
Because
That's
I haven't
fine.
had time for like video games as much as I'd like.
Yeah, buddy, this is hype about whatever you want to be hype
Oh
about.
boy, am I hyped! The new Dark Crystal series is legit awesome. Like I enjoyed the movie when I was a kid. / traumatized me a little bit as a kid because I was in that sweet spot where I'm like, I love the Muppets. This will be like that.
Was it a movie or a show?
The
movie. It's a movie.
The
It is a movie?
original is
Okay.
a movie.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, that's what I'm
Netflix
talking
is a
about.
show.
Yeah, I knew Netflix was bringing it back as a show. I don't know why I thought it was a show originally too.
They didn't do cool shows
I don't
back then.
see. I don't know that much about the Dark Crystal.
Yeah, Fraggle Rock.
The most I know about Dark Crystal is one of the 2 years I did Reddit Secret Santa. The girl that I got for me to get gifts for.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the big things that she put in her bio was Dark Crystal. So I got her a statue and something else.
Oh, that's great though. You don't need to know anything about the Dark Crystal. We'll watch the show. You can skip the movie.
Okay.
It's a prequel.
Oh.
Literally, the first opening scene is them explaining, this is this world. This is how it came into being. This is what the crystal is. This is how things got to be the way they are now.
And here we go.
And here we go. And it's basically like the origin of the Skeksis and them using basically how the world got to the way it was in the movies or in the singular movie. And it's all about like the Gelfling rebellion, which is all the little elf-looking guys from the first movie. It's all the nations of them. Like I guess I'm like four episodes in rebelling.
I watched the Dark Crystal because of the Robot Chicken spoof, the rap song version of it. Because I was like, I don't know what this is at all. So I was like, Dark Crystal. Let me look at it, and I watched it, and I was like 16, 17. I wasn't real little when I watched it, and I was like, this is weird.
Honestly,
It's good.
It's good, but like without the context that the show provides, it just seems like somebody's really rough LSD trip.
That's what it felt like, yeah.
Yeah,
And I've never done LSD, so that's pretty impressive for me.
But the show kind of seems to fleshes out the world a lot more, so it's I don't know. It
You got a
feels-
lot more time to do that kind of thing in a TV show.
Exactly, which honestly this should have been done in a show beforehand. So I'm enjoying the tar out of it right now, and I'm probably gonna binge through the rest of it before you guys even check it out.
Likely.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Like
Very
I said,
likely.
I just started Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I'll let you know if
So-
it's good when I finish.
Yeah, I've been doing more playing video games than watching TV for once. So.
Oh yeah, what's bringing you joy, Jesse?
Well, all right. Okay, so yeah, one of the things in particular, the Adventure Zone.
Oh yeah.
How dare you say that name to me?
Yeah, so I finally finished. Balance is the first big story they do, and it's one of those things like I hear from a few of my friends like how good that story is, like because it starts with them just playing a little bit of D&D, and then Griffin McElroy, that brother. Hey, so please.
I love my brother, my brother and me.
Yeah, it's those guys.
Yeah.
If you've
Yeah.
ever heard of my brother and me, Mabim Mam.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love
I'm gonna
that.
stick. I'm gonna stick with the actual name because I
Yeah,
can
that's
say
fair.
bam, 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 bam. See, I can't.
So either way, Griffin McElroy, like they kind of start with this preset module and everything, and they end up turning it into this huge, like, awesome story that has a lot of twists and turns and is just super fun. Have you actually finished it, Trevor?
No, I listened to the first like 10 episodes, and then I started using it to fall asleep to because I find their voices soothing, and I burn through half of their podcast falling asleep to it.
I guess that's
So
So you
I
have
don't
no
know-
idea what's happened.
I know what happens in the first 5 minutes of every episode.
because that's
Good
not
on
that's
the
not
recaps.
that's definitely not something you can just skip around with.
No, it's definitely. I need to. I plan on going back and like re-listening to it.
So yeah, I highly recommend this show for anyone, like even if you don't care at all about D&D, because they're playing real fast and loose with the rules anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're just kind of rolling dice and making decisions, and it's more of like a collaborative storytelling event than it is, like them actually playing a game of Dungeons and Dragons.
They're less about stat blocks and more about entertaining themselves
Yes, and the listeners.
and the listeners.
And it is extremely entertaining because it's basically the whole thing started with the three McElroy brothers are all living in different locations, and they wanted to kind of like keep up with each other. They wanted something to do. They had kind of gotten into podcasting a little bit. Like my brother and me was getting pretty big, and they decided they were going to do this podcast. With they got their dad involved too because they wanted to do this as a family. So it's these 4 McElroys, and they do this story with the son or one of the sons, Griffin, DMing, and it's just really, really good. I finally finished the Balance story. That's actually one of the things that I did with my trip to St. Louis. I was down to like the last 2 episodes, which anybody that's listened to this before knows they are extremely long episodes. I think the finale is 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Oh, that's like every episode of Critical Role.
Yeah, that's true.
That's actually short for a Critical Role
Yeah,
episode.
they try to keep theirs to like hour 20 in
Which
the
honestly is
Adventure
a
Zone.
good bite-sized portion.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's huge, long episodes for the last part. And yeah, so I just basically went around St. Louis to these comic shops, had my Bluetooth buds in, so I was walking around to a bunch of places, just listening to that while looking for specific comic books. Yes, Dalton.
My thought was you were wearing them in the car, and I was like, Jesse.
No, that is dangerous.
Yeah, I was like, and he has a car that reads it. It's like all of our cars, right? Like we just have the blue.
No.
It's like 3 of our cars that just has it like in the
Trevor
car.
got an 07.
My bad.
Yeah, I actually
Can we
have-
put the tape deck like modifier in there?
It's got a CD player.
It's not quite that old.
Yeah.
Oh.
I also wear
that was-
headphones when I drive, but I have the bone conduction one, so I can still hear.
Oh.
Because I usually like make phone calls when I drive, and I like to be hands-free.
I remember having a 99 Dodge and it crapped out, and then I got my grandma's 2003 Ford, and I was really annoyed because the tape deck was gone. So I couldn't just put the adapter in to hook up to my iPod.
Yeah. No, I got an auxiliary jack.
Oh, cool. All right. Well,
Yeah.
see, he's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I know I very much in my car. I just had it. I actually had it going with Android Auto. Because Android Auto is awesome. And it had an update, so it looks even cooler now.
What's this car fellow over here?
I know, right? But anyway, yeah, no, I like Android Auto a lot. But yeah, so I was listening to it in the car, and then when I got out of the car, I was listening to it in my earbuds to get it finished. I went up there and had a Soul Taco.
Oh, Soul Taco.
Soul spelled not S-O-L, but Seoul is in Seoul, Korea.
That's
SEO.
S-O-E-L, right?
There's an E in
S-E-O-U-L.
there. There's an E and a U in there.
Yeah.
S-E-O-U-L,
There's a
I
U in
believe.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Public school, man.
Anyway,
Didn't have to take a lot of tests over Seoul, Korea.
yeah, it's a
I
place
have
in St.
family
Louis.
Seoul, Korea. I should know this.
It's a place in St.
I have
Louis
cousins.
that's just ridiculously awesome. It's a Mexican-Korean like fusion.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so you get a burrito
Oh.
that's filled with kimchi fried rice, spicy pork like with Korean seasonings, and then what they call soul sauce, and some other stuff. It's so good.
Like a banh mi burrito.
So good.
I wasn't like that was my one regret from Saturday is I didn't eat in St. Louis because like as I was driving around I just wasn't super hungry, and then I got like 10 minutes outside of St. Louis and it hit me like a truck.
You stopped
Yeah.
at Herculaneum QT, didn't you?
in
No,
the Box.
absolutely not. I stopped at Herculaneum at Jack in the Box.
This is an
because I
argument-
like actual
Wow.
This is
All right.
so.
I've apparently
food. You can
activated
keep
Ace's
your
trap
you
card.
you can keep your 12-day-old roller
He will take
sausages.
I will.
his 2-month-old.
I will,
So-
and I'll do it with a smile.
And he will take his 2-month-old frozen tacos.
Yeah, because those are amazing.
Yeah.
And they at least fry them when I order them. Not that morning and just whatever happens to still be on the rack is what you can get.
I know what I like.
So QT, speaking of that, like whenever I exploded my face in the ring, I had to go to St. Louis the next day to a dentist to get my tooth fixed.
Right.
So I didn't eat for like literally.
So you just had him fix the one?
Yay! Because he has been waiting for someone to make the joke. We have all been so nice to him. In that
thought-
one
no.
specific regard,
Oh, God.
you thought you were safe.
Yeah.
You thought you were out.
Can't make it that easy for me,
And
man.
Trevor with the sucker punch.
Yeah, no, he just.
Oh, I rolled a tear.
He didn't even lob the ball. Like Dalton went over there, put the damn thing on the tee
Without knowing it. I was just telling a story.
Dalton went up to just talk to the catcher. And Trevor just cracked him in the side of the head.
No, right in the mouth. He wanted to try and fix that problem.
He didn't even hit the ball.
No, it was still in my hand. He was going for the hand.
You were walking up, tossing it in the air, catching it in one hand, and that's when he was just like, swing. It's over the plate. Should have stood there.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I feel like I derailed that train hard. Sorry.
I'm sorry about the 2 minutes of laugh track, everybody.
I didn't realize nobody made that joke yet.
No, I
didn't
even think about it. Like
we were trying really hard because it was one of those things. The first time I said Perryville teeth, I got like that was really funny, but that really hurt laugh out of Dalton, and so I've backed up on the teeth.
No, I knew that.
I think on PWU we even like Shannon was going to make the joke, but then was like, no, it's too easy.
Well, I was also gone because I got sick that same week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I wasn't there the week that it happened. Man, no, you guys have been really sweet about that.
You're
like, I'm not even like, it was, oh no, Trevor, that was a 10 out of 10 joke.
I'm glad I could be the dick here.
No, you're good. Like, but you just made me realize how nice they were to me for like 3 weeks.
They really love you.
Yeah.
Jesse's legit wiping tears from his eyes.
Like, I got one. I rolled a tear. That was good. Like, I was blindsided. You guys are sweet humans. Not you, Trevor. You're a not nice human. But
I know.
So you went up to St. Louis.
Yeah, so like I had to get the one really broken tooth had to get fixed. So I didn't eat for like 16 hours because I was like afraid of like breaking it more. So we went to a QT and my lovely girlfriend like bought me like $5 worth of QT like rollers.
Oh, which is like 10 rollers.
Yeah, because she like also knew that like so my lip was like 3 times the size of it, so I had to eat on the side of my mouth. But she knew I was just waiting to get the tooth fixed to like eat. So I needed gas right after the dentist, and it was just like, oh yeah, we didn't have a Jack in the Box next to us, but that QT rollers though, they were good.
Dude, I've driven from Cape to Herculaneum on like
Just
a
for
Sunday night for QT.
Yeah.
I mean, I've driven longer places for dumber reasons.
But I'm
too.
also I'm a
That's really
connoisseur of gas station food.
Same.
QT is the Mercedes of gas station food.
I love it's my weak spot. That gas station food. You give me like a pizza hot pocket thing that sat in a heat lamp for 2 hours. Oh baby.
Yeah, and if you can get it for that third
Weird
or fourth
weak
hour, it's a little bit more.
It's a weird weak spot. I know.
I'm also this is another thing Trevor and I bonded over. Is gas station food.
Well, no, I mean, Herculate, like it's one of those things. Like Asa realized it was the flaw in our group because like if I'm coming back from St. Louis, I am stopping in Herculaneum and I'm going to that QT
Because you can also get any drink you could ever think of.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
No, it's just a phenomenal convenience store, and I hate roads because they're the reason we don't have one down here.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's just a great spot. It is unfortunate that like the decision has to be made. Do you want tacos from Jack in the Box or do you want QT rollers? And for me, it's
To be clear, it's not like I'm only going to Jack in the Box and getting the tacos. That's just the side dish. I will drop that $1.30 for the 2 tacos there. But I'm going for the actual food. Because I like Jack in the Box is
Have you done
so
the Burger
much
King
better.
tacos?
Have I done what?
The Burger King tacos?
No, and I refuse.
Why?
Because they're not the same. I've heard,
They're good though.
I've heard that they're pretty much just like they're trying to make the Jack in the Box tacos, except they don't use actual taco meat. They just shred up their actual patty.
yeah.
Ever since
I think it's
Jesse
good.
told me how they were made when he worked at Taco Bell, I've
Burger
steered-
King?
Yes,
I mean-
Burger King. Sorry, I've steered clear of them.
In complete fairness, they're made exactly the same way at Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
I also
It's just
don't get Jack in the Box tacos.
You should. They're delicious. So are the Burger King ones.
the Burger King ones.
What we're
aren't-
saying
the
is-
Burger King ones aren't bad, but they're twice the price of the
This
Jack
is-
in the Box.
Yeah, and
ones.
that's the other thing is they're more expensive, and also like I don't think Burger King is I don't think Burger King has the quality to justify how expensive it is.
I don't think Jack in the Box does either. But
Well, see, Jack in the Box, like
Jack in
or
the Box
any
is cheap.
drive-thru.
Jack in the Box is cheaper than Burger King though.
yeah, that's true.
That's
and really, like,
$1.39,
And it's
right?
like it is more I think it's better quality than Burger King too. Depending on, because I always get the same, but I always get like one of the same like 3 things.
Yeah, don't they have like 100 things on their menu too?
Well, they
though?
have a breakfast menu that you can get 24 hours too.
Yeah.
So that expands it, but not really. Like
It's
they
like
have
the-
like 12. They have like 12, dinner, lunch, whatever combos, and then they have the
Yeah, they actually have fewer like
8
total
breakfast
items
combos.
than,
They have sides though that
I
like
think
Burger King
I've
doesn't
never
have.
been there sober, so that might be
Yeah.
why I'm thinking the sign has a lot of.
Yeah, because
stuff
they
on it.
have fewer things that go between bread than Burger King does for sure, because they only have one size patty. I think they have a chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really it. And then they have a bunch of different like toppings and stuff they put on it, versus like
And a bunch of sides.
yeah, versus like Burger King has like 2 different sized beef patties. They have 3 different kinds of chicken they throw on stuff. But anyway,
And this is Hype Train related. They just dropped the cover of the 4K Ultra HD Far From Home cover. It's pretty tight.
oh,
That's gorgeous.
Ooh.
I'm gonna need to see the steelbook though.
That's true, but like that's pretty.
No, that's really
It's
good
so much better
looking.
than that original one they showed.
I still need to see Far From
Which
Home.
It's really good.
I know.
There
I
was
wanna see it.
there was a poster that came out as part of like a DVD ad or something, and it legitimately looked like it was done in paint. Yeah, it didn't look
That's
great.
not good.
Oh,
So
that
anyway,
might be. Well, that might be. No,
moving back to my thing though.
Oh yeah, you bro.
Yeah.
Soul
So
Taco.
the Adventure Zone, yeah, Soul Taco, like that was a little spin off there. I desperately need that to come down here too, because, or maybe I don't.
I was gonna say I don't know if Cape could handle that.
I Cape, like, okay, we are the Chinese food mecca. I am sure that a place like Soul Taco would do wonderfully down here.
Yeah.
If Cape Girardeau can support 12 Chinese restaurants simultaneously,
See, but here's the problem: is like there's 3 good ones. Like it could come down here, but if it's
There's
run
more
like
than
if
3
it's
good
if it's
ones.
run like the majority of the ones here, it's not gonna be good.
I mean, if you're talking about buffets, I mean, well, actually, right now there's only 2 Chinese buffets that's gone
true.
down significantly.
Mm-hmm.
But all of like the dine-in carry-out Chinese
Great.
places, I can't think of one that's bad here right now.
So
Yeah.
I China Walk was a staple of my college diet.
yeah.
Love China
Nuakai
Walk.
right down the street's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's arguably my favorite. And then you get to like the Thai places like Saffron and Cafe and Me, Faux 8.
See, I've never.
I
went to
wasn't
those
even
ones.
I didn't know
including those in
Yeah, I
the
wouldn't
number.
either. I didn't know Faux 8 was still open.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, great.
Is that the
food.
one that's down
Love
by?
them.
Best Buy.
They're
Oh,
a little
okay. That's the
pricier,
one.
but it's kind of it's. One
I've been
of my
there. Yeah, I've been
favorites.
there like twice, and I didn't like it was
The one on Sprig Street's Cafe
okay,
and Me.
but it was
I
like it's
have
like
been there.
$9.
It's really good.
I went
too.
It
there
makes
with
me
you.
feel good because everything's really healthy and like made that day.
Yeah.
Like they don't like refrigerate anything.
So
from
anyway,
anyway,
the point is, yeah, no, I think
Back
a
to
place
Jesse.
like Soul Taco could work down here just fine. Like for whatever reason, like people in this area really love Asian food.
See, but they like traditional, in quotes, traditional
They
Asian
like-
food.
they
Like
like chicken
you're
fried
making it
rice.
you're making it weird. Look at me, I'm trying a chicken tempura.
Especially like since this burrito is cheaper than a burrito from Burritoville and bigger.
That's not
that
saying
ain't hard
much.
to do.
of course, that
Yeah.
being said, like at the brewery I work at, we do a sushi and brewski nights in Perryville, Missouri.
Word.
Yeah, and it's our most profitable night by far. Like,
Yeah,
that
because you're
place
wrapping
is
up
packed.
carp and and sticky rice,
They
charging $12 a roll.
They
Yeah,
love the sushi. Love the
Well,
sushi.
Perryville is becoming more and more hipster, but yet still more and more backwoods.
Also, like I feel like we
It's
spent a
an
lot
odd
of time on this. I'm not hyped about Soul Taco. Soul Taco is just delicious. And that was part
you
of
were
my
really
day.
hyped
You
about
should be
Adventure
hyped
Zone.
about it.
I was hyped about that day because this day made me feel better in general. Just after the previous weekend, and then not getting to go to Indiana Comic Con for the first time in a few years.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I don't blame any one person for that.
He
said while staring at Dalton.
Saturday I was just sitting at home being like, David Yost is in Indiana right now.
And we could have been too.
Yeah.
Uh,
That was a meet and greet I would have paid for.
and then I found out they added a few people like at the tail end that I like, not people that you guys would have cared about. Ric Flair was there. Woo! But yeah, like I said, not
That's not
people
how
that
you
you
do
guys
it.
would have cared about.
All right,
I wanna
that's
drop-
a
I wanna
lot,
drop-
bro.
It's not a Pokemon.
I don't want to drop $90 to
No.
spend 2
Play-
seconds with Ric Flair.
Gotta
To
say,
meet
play
the
with
dirtiest player in the game.
Yeah,
So anyway, it just ended up being a good day that started with like I got to St. Louis and went to Soul Taco. I was a little bummed that because I messaged Kevin because I was like, hey man, I'm going up to St. Louis, and he was like, oh, I got stuff to do. And that was a bummer. Yeah, but either way, like I just kind of spent the day like shopping for comics because I was also trying to find Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man issues around, and I was trying to find some connecting variants, which screw you, Diamond, Marvel, whoever I need to say screw you to, scalpers, whatever. Trying to find those stupid connecting variants for the House of X Powers of 10. I went to 6 comic shops in St. Louis. Found one of the connecting variants that are out so far, and it was one I already had.
Yeah, I was about to ask if it was one you already had.
Yeah, it was like Powers number 3, and that's like the one. That's one of the 3 that I have.
Because I didn't start looking until like more than halfway through my trip, but the 3 that I went to after you had said that's what you were looking for, they didn't even have like. I think maybe one of those shops had any of the Pox books at all. Like, even just, like, the regular covers.
Yeah, because the...
No, I take that back. One had the first printing of, like, the regular covers, and then one had the second printing of the first House of X.
Wizard's Wagon had a bunch of second printings. And then there's the 2 of the other ones I went to. Star Clipper had a whole bunch of all of them, but they didn't have any of the connecting variants. I actually almost, while I was at Star Clipper, bought like the base issue, like the normal cover, just to have those, but I don't need them. And then Fantasy Shop was the other one that I went to that had a bunch of them, but no connecting.
But that was a different Fantasy Shop than the one that I went to.
Yeah, because there are 2. Turns out like the Fantasy Shop, the one that I went to in South County, is Kevin's comic book shop.
Oh, neat.
So yeah, and I like that shop a lot. It's just it's a really nice little comic shop.
Is it a chain? I wonder if it's a chain.
I think it's just those 2.
Okay.
I think it's just those 2 locations.
Well, I didn't know if it's like the same, but is it like, or do those 2 locations have the same like
owner? Yeah. But I don't think it's beyond.
But it's not
those
like a
2
full
stores.
chain. Yeah,
it's kind of like Gaming Grounds.
Okay.
Yeah, we got 2 locations.
That makes sense.
But, so anyway, so that was super cool, and I did get to finish Balance of the Adventure Zone, and I cannot recommend this enough. Like, if you guys, especially if you were a Books on Tape listener, just knock this out. It's free. Just hit it up on
iTunes. Well,
podcast
Apple,
service.
Yeah, whatever
Any
podcast service. Because they have an RSS feed for it. Like any podcast
It's
service.
on Spotify.
Yeah, it is on Spotify. Any
As are we.
podcast service you use. If you're listening to this on Spotify, thank you. If you're listening to this at all, thank you.
We need friends.
Right. So it was fun though. I got to finish that, and holy crap, the Adventure Zone ending, like just the number of things they did to really stick the landing, especially with like they didn't know how big it was going to get when they started it. And that was what I was going back to with like that intro stuff when I was talking about like how it got going. They had no idea how big it was going to get, how big and epic the story was going to get, and good God. And like I said, the fact that he managed to stick the landing on the ending, just
Moi.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. It was fantastic. So well done. Absolutely worth listening to. I laughed. I teared up a little bit. I just had a great time all around. They're just really, really funny dudes. And Griffin is a phenomenal storyteller.
Yeah, I need to start listening to more D&D podcasts. That's probably going to be on my radar.
Oh yeah, the Adventure Zone needs to be your number 1.
Really?
Like I know Critical Role is good.
I know. I'm trying to get going into running this Curse of Strahd campaign. I'm trying to get different DM styles because I feel like I've listened too much Critical Role, and I don't want to fall into the thing of try to be Matt Mercer. Because I can't.
No one can be Matt Mercer.
No, I'm not that good.
Griffin is probably more your speed.
Yeah.
Also,
what I've listened to, that sounds right.
cheap plug for another We Have Cool Friends. He has like a 2-hour interview with Brian Foster.
Why do I
Critical Role.
Oh, I don't.
Brian
remember.
W. Foster.
Yeah, I never remember any of their real names.
He was in a cult.
All right, I really want to listen to it now. Which one?
They don't say.
Tony Robbins, huh? Okay.
All right. I've also gotten into Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Read issue 1. I need to read more of it. I will have, if I get issue 2 in, which I did order it, finally managed to find one online. This one was driving me nuts. This was the main comic book I was looking for in all these shops. The House of X, Powers of 10 stuff, the Hoxpox stuff would have been just gravy if I found it, but Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man was what I was actively looking for. Mm-hmm. And I managed to find every issue that I needed except for number 2. Asa grabbed one of the ones that I needed. I saw it in a bunch of places too, but number 2 nowhere to be found.
Yeah, I didn't see a single number 2.
That's commonplace.
couldn't-
Comic books.
Well,
Comic
yeah.
books.
I mean, it's what happened. It's what happened with the first Batman Ninja Turtles crossover.
Yeah, and it was one of those things, like, it wasn't like if I found it, it was really expensive. I couldn't find it. I was even looking online. I looked like eBay and Amazon. I finally found it on Amazon for, I think I paid $11 shipped, which, for a comic book isn't bad.
That makes me feel a little better for you ordering that number 1 for me for
Oh, yeah, for
Daredevil.
So
I read it, but I want to have the whole set.
because it was like basically I paid an extra $2 for the book, and then it was $6 shipping from the Amazon seller. Just a little bit of a bummer, but whatever. Like, I'll have the set.
I did that with the Power Rangers books like a year or two ago. I didn't have I have all of the Power Ranger books that came out, but I had variants of a couple of them, so I wanted the main covers. Number 2 cost me legitimately $20.
Yeah, it was the same thing with the Batman Ninja Turtle crossovers. I got the number 1, and that was one of the first times that I talked to the people at Villainous Grounds. Is because I called up to Perryville to see hey, so do you have this specific issue of a thing? Like, oh, well, all our comics are upstairs. Let me go look. It's like, oh, you don't need to go upstairs. They're like, oh no, it's fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
little did you
And then
know
they
your
didn't ha- and
life
then they
would be
didn't have it.
changed forever.
I know. And yeah, so I ended up having to order it off of I think Midtown. I don't know. No, I think I got mine off of Amazon too, off a reseller, because I spent $20-$30 on that number 2
Yeah.
because no one expected it to be good.
No, that's fair. The most expensive comic book I've ever bought was actually Borderlands number 2, because not only was it a number 2, but this was the prequel stories with the backstory for the original 4 Vault Hunters.
Yeah.
And number 2 was the Siren. That was Lilith's
Lilith.
issue.
Oh.
So yeah, on top of the fact, because I was having them pull it at my local shop, they didn't get any at all. So yeah, I had to try and hunt one down. I ended up paying $20 shipped to get that to me. That's annoying. And then I had it shipped to the wrong apartment. I actually had to break into an apartment to get it.
I wouldn't admit
I'll tell that
that
story later.
Makes 4 B&Es you've done?
So I don't want to tell you this, but they have McFarlane's toys have been slowly but surely doing all the Borderlands 2 figures that you'd want. And it's McFarlane, so they're amazing sculpts and amazing paint jobs at an affordable price, like $22 a piece.
Yeah, it ain't bad.
I went to GameStop today to pick up my turtles. I saw Lilith and 2 of the new characters from Borderlands 3.
My wallet don't need that information.
Why would
I think
you
there was
do
a
that?
Krieg 2, which is one that I kind of want to buy because that was my most recent playthrough.
Yeah, I don't.
But I don't own any of them, so it's one of those there's a really cool Handsome Jack as well.
I don't care that much. I like Handsome Jack a whole lot as a character, but I do have his pop figure, but I didn't buy it. It was purchased for me. like most of my pop figures.
Oh yeah.
That's like most everyone's pop figures.
Nope.
Not that at Casa de Dalton.
No.
Casa de Dalton y Sadie. We pay a lot for. We don't pay a lot for pops. We
But you
pay for a lot of pops.
You've
Yeah.
paid their power bill a few times. Got it.
He sent a couple of their kids to college at this point between him and
Which is
Sadie,
pretty bad 'cause I'm still paying on college debt and making new college debt.
Yay.
while buying more pops.
Yeah, well, welcome.
With that college debt.
Yeah. That college debt's actually paying for credit card debt. It's just a revolving door.
Just moving it around.
Yeah.
Just in and out. In and
We
out.
call that- we call that the millennial shuffle. I think I broke Dalton.
For the second time in one show.
That was a laughter one, though. The other one was just pain. Trying to find these Borderland figures. God, the Millennial Shuffle. That's a good one.
All right, but anyway, the other comic book related stuff that I've gotten hyped about, just a couple of books that, because I also recently got Marvel Unlimited to get on some backstock, because and this has been an awful thing for me because there are a couple of books that I've gone through and started reading that it's like, man, I would love to own the physical versions of this. Case number 1, The Immortal Hulk. This is one of those
I
things.
have a number 1.
I also have the number 1. Guess what's rarer?
Number 2.
You know it.
Every time.
Every time.
Because that one is very much one that we always talk about of on paper, this sounds like the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But when you actually read the book, oh dang, this is actually real good.
Turns out, it's not just I've said it before. Marvel is masters of this, of just that sounds really stupid, and then you read it and you're like, well, I'll be danged.
What about Cosmic Ghost Rider?
I stand by the fact that I must be living in a pocket dimension.
Did you read any more than the first issue?
No, I didn't.
Because I haven't either. I own like...
I read you out loud the
I know,
first issue.
I remember.
And then called me
Yeah.
to read pages.
Because it is a goofy premise. But apparently it's incredible. Mostly like the Thanos run leading up to it
The
and then that
second
going
issue,
into it.
The cover is a giant space shark with like lasers or a crown or something on its head, trying to eat the cosmic Ghost Rider with baby. I don't want to talk about it. Immortal Hulk, Jesse.
Immortal Hulk, it sounds so dumb on paper.
Green
but
Door.
Then you start reading it. If you are like, it doesn't matter if you're a fan of the Hulk. If you are a fan of horror, check out Immortal Hulk.
I'm out.
It's got some pretty upsetting images.
It's not like, I mean, it's body horror. Like,
do comic book
It's like Cronenberg.
yeah, it's very Cronenberg.
oh, that's
God.
fine.
Like it was one of those things. Like because as I was reading through it, like I messaged Asa. I was like, all right, so I was not expect Cronenbergian horror.
Yeah.
Like when I first like got this book or got like interested in reading it. It was just one of those things. I kept hearing how good it's Al Ewing's run Immortal Hulk. I kept hearing how good it was, and I like just regular issues, not new appearances of anything or anything like that. We're moving to second. It was issue 23, I think. No, 17. Issue 17 went to a second printing before the book released. And it wasn't like it was going to be the first introduction of a character or even a new introduction of an old character or anything like that. It was just a regular issue that went to second printing before the book released. So I was like, holy crap, it's outselling Batman. An Incredible Hulk book is outselling Batman. Non-comic book fans, like you should probably still understand like how big of a deal that is.
Yeah, Batman's like the number one.
That's DC's number one book.
That's DC's number one book.
Well, and so talking to the guy from Fantasy Shop, apparently there is a lot of it's not necessarily that like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Justice League are selling less, but like a lot of their supporting characters are starting to sell more. So like that run lately has apparently been a lot closer than I think DC was probably expecting, which
Yeah.
is cool. But still, the fact that Hulk, a Incredible Hulk book is outselling a Batman, like the main Batman book is.
Yeah, it's one of those things like even outside of extenuating circumstances or anything like that. That's just a crazy
silly
sentence. And it's super good. Like it's really, really good. It's really disturbing in some images.
Yeah.
Because it's straight up like Cronenbergian body horror.
Oh, read
like,
early Hellblazer. It's rough too.
Yeah. So I mean that's pretty fantastic. Donny Cates' run on Venom. I started reading through that. Also super good. Good to the point where like I'm wanting to get caught up in that, and I've been buying Absolute Carnage because that's the event that Cates' Venom run is running to. And that one's also like super like dark. Like I wouldn't say
a Carnage book. Dark.
Venom. Yeah. Yeah. Like some dude's face gets melted with acid and then a bunch of symbiotes eat it. Yeah, whatever.
Neat.
Nom, 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 nom.
That doesn't even shock me a little bit.
Right? Yeah. It's good stuff. Like especially if you're into, even a little bit of like that dark, like creepy horror kind of like the body gore kind of stuff. Immortal Hulk and Venom are both really, really good books, and they've both been selling extremely well. And Absolute Carnage went to a third printing before it released.
I wonder what that says about society.
I mean, we're comic book fans.
I don't
It's different.
Easy there, Joker.
He got you there, dog. So yeah, no, like those are probably what's Marvel Unlimited allowing me to do this. And yeah, that was the thing I was going to get into about like I want to own back issues of Venom and Hulk. Good luck, me.
Yeah.
It ain't happening. Like it's not like they're absurdly expensive or anything like that. But if I want to own, because at this point they're up to issue. I think this month is 23 is releasing for Immortal Hulk. I think.
Yeah, because I think it's only like 14 is what's on Unlimited.
Yeah. So yeah, they're up to that, and I cannot find any of them any less than like for first printings, and because I am who I am, I have to have a first printing.
Yes.
I can't find any of those books from 2 up less than $15.
Are you a savage? I don't know.
And I'm not going to spend $15 on that many books.
And that's it. There's a weird feeling of having read something but not owning it. Mm-hmm. Because it's the same thing with like the Tony Stark books, the Captain America book because I've been keeping up with kind of the main four, as well as trying to keep up with Return of Wolverine, things like that on Marvel Unlimited, which is great. But it is that thing of just like, oh, it's weird that I've read this, but I don't own it.
So you don't have a library card, do you?
No, I live outside of. Well, my ID is on outside of city limits.
That was a joke.
Oh,
about reading something and not owning it. Because that's the entire premise of it.
Yeah, no, it's 2019, so...
Yeah, libraries are the worst.
I disagree.
I've watched
audiobooks.
I've watched Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec has told me that the worst, so they're the worst.
Okay, well, that's just the people who work at that one, but that's fair.
No, I used to love going to the library when I was a kid. I haven't been to a library
It's
in
still
forever.
awesome. You can get so many free audiobooks just through the library.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's like 5 apps. You just plug in your library card, and it's like, here's free stuff.
I don't think I've had a... Anyway, it doesn't matter.
That was way too sidetracked.
Yeah,
Sorry,
well,
guys.
library card?
That was my fault. That was my fault.
Perryville up here. Like, library?
All right, we have a library.
Have you seen The Page Master? It's very similar.
Oh, I love The Page Master.
I know.
That's a good movie.
I've done a good job not swearing on this episode, even though very provoked multiple times.
You're really true.
We have poked you, yes. Quite firmly.
So yeah, that's what I'm into right
gusto.
now. I highly recommend if you guys have Marvel Unlimited or access to the trades, because I'm sure you can find the trades. I'm just not a big fan of buying trades.
I love buying trades
for like Venom and Immortal Hulk. Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Adding to my recommendations of everybody on the planet needs to read All New Wolverine. Tom Taylor's run on that book, because good lord. And yeah,
I also will never shut up about Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run.
Oh, it's so good.
Pizza, dog.
Yeah. I could never find the Marvel Select. There was a Disney Store exclusive Marvel Select that came with Pizza Dog.
All right, guys. So that's gonna wrap up our show, though.
Thank you for listening to the final episode of the Hype Train for the foreseeable future that is not 100% dedicated to Borderlands 3.
I was gonna say next.
And you're also welcome
so
for not
sorry.
talking about Borderlands 3 up until now.
Yep, I managed to I skirted it when I was talking about that issue of Borderlands.
It's going to be bad, guys.
It's going to be great.
But the game comes out
Next Friday.
Not this coming Friday, but the following. And yeah, that's so the next episode is going to be entirely, hey, what's bringing you joy? Borderlands. That's spoiler alert.
Stories
folks.
about Borderlands. Jesse and I are doing a full-on slumber party / LAN party that entire weekend.
Yes.
He has not told me that it's okay to do that, but I'm like, it's just
it's fair.
I invited myself over.
I think I have to go. I think I'm going to Tennessee next weekend.
Well, that's a mistake on your part.
Yes.
You should cancel that. Come over to my house and play Borderlands.
And not get tetanus.
No, I just got a tetanus shot because of the stitches.
I'm flying out of Memphis Thursday, so I'll be
you
right
should-
there with you. Try not to get tetanus.
No, I just got a tetanus shot though.
Oh, so you're good.
Yeah. Because they asked me at the emergency room when was the last time you got a tetanus shot, and I said, hell if I know. And they said, well, you're getting a tetanus shot now.
He finally swore.
He
All
said
right, somebody.
HE double hockey sticks, Will Friedle. We all wrapped. It's all been in a bow. We did it.
That's right. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Check out that pre-show if you want to hear Dalton's story about the very
Wow,
embarrassing
the
story.
night has sucked so hard for me. Because the
That's what happens when you show up on. That's what happens when you show up on the show. You quit. So.
Oh, he got you there, dog. So yeah, if you want to hear Dalton's horribly embarrassing story from the boudoir. Oh god, this is why we need video.
No. They'll never believe you.
Yes, they will. That is something they would believe.
Nah,
$1 patreon.com/Podzilla1985. Thank you, everyone.
Choo choo.